Hey, what's up, YouTube friends? What's up, everybody? We're back here with another top 10. This time we're going to be checking out top 10 scary European urban legends that are too real to ignore. This intrigues me because I don't know if I know of any European urban legends. Maybe I do. This will let me know. So if you're from Europe, let me know if these are indeed, some 10 scary European legends that you know about urban legends, or if whoever created this video is just blowing some smoke and don't know what they're talking about. I'd be very interested because I believe I have a lot of subscribers from over the seas. So let me know, and we're going to go ahead and tap into this one. Top 10 scary European urban legends that are too real to ignore. Let's see what we think about it. I'm going to switch the screens up. And here we go.
It's my European tour today. I'm going across Europe to share some bizarre, unsettling, and possibly real urban legends with all of you. I'm your host, James, so join me as I discuss the top 10 scary European urban legends that are too real to ignore. And we're kicking off this list with the Scandinavian Gangger. Gangger, that's a hard word to say. Might be mispronouncing it. Originating in the folklore of Scandinavia, particularly Norway and Sweden, the Gangger is believed to be the embodiment of a deceased individual who returns from the grave to haunt the living. These spectral beings typically manifest with a pale complexion, dressed in tattered burial garments. They're often associated with unfinished business or unresolved grievances, seeking retribution or closure. It kind of sounds like a normal ghost, but they actually are very, very different. Legend has it that encountering one of these beings brings great misfortune and even death to those who cross its path. Instead of just appearing in the backgrounds of photographs or whispering incoherent sentences into spirit boxes like your regular old vanilla ghosts, right? The Gangger are malicious spirits that can actually cause physical harm. The mere sight of these spectral beings is said to invoke a profound sense of dread and foreboding, as they are believed to possess this malevolent intent, even towards loved ones. Efforts to ward off or appease one of these beings have been present in Scandinavian folklore for centuries. Traditional rituals like offering prayers, performing protective charms, or conducting burial rites were believed to provide some defense against their haunting presence. At number 9,
Okay, so that one was pretty much a goal coming back. And I don't know if they were necessarily just haunting people who have done them wrong, or if anybody can get it, but it's like a demonic goal that can harm you, physically harm you. Scandinavian folklore, it sounds like right there. Let me know if y'all have ever heard of that one, the Gangger, man. Okay, that was the first for me. I haven't heard that one before.
We have a letter from a blind man. This one is short, but man, is it chilling. A dark tale that began circulating just after one of the darkest periods in modern history. In post-World War II in Berlin, a time plagued by scarcity, poverty, and hunger, a tale spoke of a young woman who encountered a blind man navigating his way through a bustling crowd. The two ended up striking a conversation, leading the man to ask if she could deliver a letter to the specified address on the envelope for him. Considering it was conveniently on her route home, she agreed to help. As she turned to walk away, though, she craned her head back momentarily to see if there was anything else she could assist the blind man with, and to her astonishment, she caught sight of him hastily making his way through the crowd without his dark glasses or his white cane. Understandably, she was pretty suspicious at this point and headed over to report the incident to the authorities. The police swiftly raided the address mentioned in the letter, where they uncovered a gruesome discovery. In the home were piles of human flesh intended for sale, and within the envelope entrusted to the young woman was a chilling message that read, "This is the last one I'm sending you today." The Beast of Gevudan.
Reading, "This is the last one I'm sending you today." Okay, letter from the blind man in Germany. I feel like I missed the whole even intent or purpose of that one. So this man gave her the letter, he took off, she reported to the authorities, they raided the home, they found pounds of flesh to be sold. I mean, this is packaged to be sold. And the letter said, "This is the last one I am sending you today." As if there were more that were sent that same day. I don't know. Fill me in if you've heard that one. Letter from a Blind Man. That was interesting.
Terrifying creature's tale has become a blend of fact, fiction, and folklore. The legend speaks of a monstrous beast that haunted the rural landscape of Gavaudan, a region in south-central France during the mid-18th century. According to the stories, the creature possessed an insatiable appetite for human flesh, targeting women and children as its preferred victims. Descriptions varied, but many accounts depicted a fearsome creature resembling a massive-sized wolf or a hybrid predator, possibly with blood-red eyes and a black stripe running down its back. Its ruthless attacks, coupled with its supposed invincibility against conventional weaponry, left the people in a state of dread and desperation, and as the legend grew, so did the attempts to bring an end to the creature's reign of terror. Countless hunters, soldiers, and villagers embarked on these journeys to track down and take out the beast, yet the creature thwarted their efforts time and time again, evading traps, bullets, and even organized hunts. The legend reached its climax when a local hunter named Jean Chastel claimed to have slain the beast using a silver bullet. Over the years, the legend of the beast of Gavaudan has been dissected by historians, mythologists, and enthusiasts, giving rise to various theories about the true nature of the creature. And apparently this did happen, it's just we're not quite sure if it was some sort of paranormal creature, like a werewolf, or if it was just a particularly large rogue wolf. Number 7.
I wish you would have went into detail on, okay, when this was reported, was this the first time we had kind of the legend of a werewolf type story being told? I doubt it, because our history is deep and there's always been fears of monsters. And I like getting into that sometimes, is understanding how our basic fears as human beings, you know, our fear factors kick in to keep us alive, so our brains will make us think even worse things than what might be happening, and that's our fight or flight kicking in. But that's to flight, get out of there, right? That's why our minds can see things much worse than what might be happening in front of our eyes right now. So I wonder, did this breed that legend of a werewolf, or was that already taking place before? And it didn't even say whether if you got bit by it, do you transform, right? Because that's another part of our mythos over here when it comes to werewolves.
7. The Well to Hell. The Well to Hell urban legend was spread through whispers, emails, and internet forums. According to the legend, in 1989, a team of Russian scientists drilled a hole deep in an unknown location in Siberia, and as they delved deeper into the Earth's crust, they allegedly pierced a barrier that unleashed unimaginable horrors. The story goes that as the drill reached an astonishing depth, the temperature spiked dramatically and strange sounds began emanating from the hole. The team lowered a heat-tolerant microphone down into the hole, and disturbingly, the team claimed to have detected agonizing screams.
I wonder if I've heard about this one.
And eerie demonic voices rising from the depths. Terrified, they quickly withdrew the drill, fearing that they had inadvertently opened a gateway to hell itself. There is an audio recording of this supposed hellish audio, and spoiler alert, it's been ruled as a hoax. However, it is pretty unsettling to listen to. I remember hearing this years and years ago when I was a kid, and it kind of freaked me out. Next on the list, we have the Faceless.
I feel like I've heard that story before. It was at, I believe, somebody's home. It was at a home, and there is a hole that it's eerie. It's just eerie, and you can't go down there, and you can, yeah, they've dropped like microphones and stuff to try to pick up. It's been like weird anomalies that happen. I wonder if that's the same story I had heard about before. They're saying that's in Serbia. That might be. Let me know if you guys know more about that story. The Well to Hell. I believe I've heard something similar, very, very similar to that before.
Years and years ago when I was a kid, and it kind of freaked me out. Next on the list, we have the Faceless Woman. This story takes place in the London Underground at Beacon Tree Station. The story goes that a station supervisor was working the late shift, minding his own business, when the door to his office started to shake. First, he just brushed it off, thinking it was just the rumble of passing trains on other lines, but when the door didn't stop rattling, even into the wee hours of the morning when no more trains were running, the worker decided probably time to leave. He headed up to the upper office office where his coworker was stationed, and as he was making his way up the staircase, he just couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Someone was trailing behind him. He turned around and was greeted by a disturbing sight. A woman stood below him with long blonde hair and without a face, standing just a few feet away. He suddenly dashed up the stairs in a panic before finally finding safety in the top office. Once there, a colleague could see the fear in his face before asking him, "Did you see a woman with long blonde hair and no face?" Next up is the Vanishing hotel.
What do you guys think? Do y'all believe in ghosts? Do y'all believe in spectral figures that you can run into, kind of see, interact with maybe? I'm very interested in that. I've heard ghost stories my whole life. A lot of people that have had these crazy encounters, man. I'm talking from just the sight to physical interaction, being pulled from bed, things like that, man. I'd like to know, do y'all have any stories like that? Have y'all encountered any spiritual embodiments of something, man? I don't know. It's very curious. Me myself, I don't think I've really had anything that has shook me to the core. I do have a little bit of stories here and there, but nothing too crazy. Let me know if y'all have had any experience in any encounters, and if you believe it to begin with. So,
and no face. Next up is the Vanishing hotel room, aka the Vanishing Lady. This legend began circulating in the late 1800s, taking place in France. Like with most urban legends, there are multiple versions of the tale, but it goes something like this. A mother and daughter had recently arrived in Paris. They check into a hotel, but pretty soon the mother begins feeling ill, collapses. A doctor arrives who informs the daughter that her mother will need medicine. That can only be picked up at the other end of town. The daughter sets out to get the medicine, but when she returns to the hotel hours later, her mother is no longer there. In a panic, she asks the staff where her mother is, but they all claim not to know who she's talking about. According to them, the girl had arrived at the hotel on her own.
What the
Some
hell?
versions of the story, the girl suffers a mental breakdown and ends up at a mental institution. In another version of the legend, it is revealed that the mother had actually died of the Black Plague, and the hotel tried to cover it up by disposing of her body and pretending like they'd never seen her in order to avoid bad publicity. At number 4,
well, I mean, that would be easy to figure out, right? I mean, if she went there with her mother and they were trying to hide the story, she has to have an alibi with somebody who can clarify her story, back it up, and make it truthful, right? You got relatives, you got family members who can say 100% she went there. You would have traveling tickets, something, train tickets, airplane tickets. Well, I guess this was during the Black Plague, so there has to be some type of information that you can provide to truthfully show that you were there with your mother. Otherwise, I'd like to believe it's the other story, that this chick just had some kind of mental condition, and that was the moment that reality set in for her, that something was seriously wrong with her. There's no way, these people must be lying. I came here with my mother. She's here. She was sick. You sent me there. Like, I could imagine just that scenario, and how scary that must be to be the staff having to deal with somebody who's coming to the realization that they've got some mental disturbances.
we have the Russian sleep experiment. This story began circulating online, and according to the chilling tale, in 1947, Soviet researchers conducted a classified experiment in which 5 subjects were kept awake for an extended period of time. The goal was to test the effects of sleep deprivation on human physiology and their mental state. Days turned into weeks, however. The subjects began to exhibit disturbing behavior. They became increasingly paranoid and delusional, plagued by hallucinations and exhibiting signs of extreme psychological distress. Desperate attempts to stay awake led to self-mutilation as they tore into their own flesh, driven to madness by their sleep-deprived states. The most horrifying twist and the legend comes when the researchers decided to release a gas into the chamber in order to induce sleep. However, instead of providing relief, the gas triggered a nightmarish frenzy of violence. The researchers entered the room only to find one man still standing. The bodies of the other 4 men, or at least what remained of them, lay strewn about the room. Next, we have another urban legend.
Yeah, there was more to that, I think, when they ended up approaching the last man. he pretty much was like talking kind of in tongues, I believe, calling himself God, and that he's pretty much seen like the way things would end. But even if that's just a legend, I would think that governments all over the world have definitely conducted experiments like this on people. I'm sorry, I just believe it's happening. You got to think about how many people you wouldn't ever know that they went missing, or that they've gone missing and haven't ever turned up. We have kidnappings, but then you have the homeless people, right? If the government went and was just capturing homeless people off the street to conduct experiments on them, who's ever gonna know? Who's ever gonna say anything, right? Those people, even if they're missed, it'll be so long before they ever are reported. And even if they are reported, well, they're homeless. We don't have any way of tracking where they are. Who can we talk to? We don't know what happened to them. They just vanished. Is it too bizarre to think that governments are taking people to experiment on them in such ways? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's beyond reach. I don't think it's out of question.
Next, we have another urban legend from the London Underground, the crying girl of King's Cross Station. In 1987, deep underground in the tunnels of the London subway at King's Cross Station, a fire had broken out. The fire took the lives of 31 people, and some say they still hear the wails and cries of the poor souls who lost their lives there, especially the crying woman. Late at night, when the platform is mostly deserted, some say they spot a woman dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, sobbing into the night, the echoes of her cries reverberating off the long, empty tunnels. When they go to approach her, though, she simply disappears. Coming in at number 2, we have the Black...
Oh, man. I thought they were going to say she'd scream at you, blood-curdling scream that makes you kind of shudder and you open your eyes and she's gone. But that one we hear a lot, man, that souls just get trapped in between realms, especially when it's a traumatic death, a tragic, traumatic ending to your life that, kind of one where you couldn't peacefully say goodbye to others, and have that closure, that your spirit can get caught between realms. And I don't know, I mean, you show up, other people are able to see you, and it seems like it's just a tormented lost soul. Let me know if you guys believe in that.
At number 2, we have the Black Volga. The urban legend of the Black Volga is a chilling tale that is circulated in various parts of the world, but particularly in Eastern Europe. According to the legend, a menacing black luxury car, often identified as a Volga sedan, prowls the streets at night, instilling fear in all who cross its path. The Black Volga is said to be driven by mysterious figures, frequently described as malevolent entities or agents of the supernatural. Witnesses claim that the vehicle appears seemingly out of nowhere, its engine roaring ominously as it glides silently through the darkness. The car's windows are tinted, hiding the occupants from view and shrouding their intentions in secrecy. Terrifying encounters with the Black Volga involve tales of kidnappings, disappearances, or even encounters with supernatural beings. Some versions of the legend suggest that the car is driven by vampires or other supernatural creatures preying on unsuspecting victims in the dead of night. Some have actually theorized that perhaps the Polish secret police spread these more outlandish legends in order to invalidate claims of genuine kidnappings carried out by the government. And at number 1,
kidnappings by the government. Hello, we got a case breaker here, man. Okay, so at first I was beginning to think of Black Volga. What's so scary about just seeing a phantom car, right? But that brings me to another question. I would think when people pass, you can't really take belongings with you. So I don't know how you're driving an automobile in the spectral realm. But if that's possible, I was like, why would that be scary anyway? Then they started incorporating, okay, kidnappings happen, people vanish, disappearances. And let's even assume that it could hit you and kill you that way. Okay, well then that becomes a lot more threatening. But then when he said the Polish government is kind of using this urban legend to cover up government kidnappings, then dude, we came full circle, did we not? Did I not say they're out there doing that kind of?
we have the Catacombs video. Now, this video really does exist. It's just the person behind the camera who's never been identified, which has led to multiple theories about the circumstances of this case. Is it just a hoax, or was this actually a man who got lost in the catacombs, never to be seen again?
Catacombs.
This is one most of you have probably heard of, but it's a story that's always stuck with me. One that chilled me to the bone when I first heard about it and watched footage. The video is said to have been filmed in the early 90s, possibly 1993. In the black and white footage, we see a POV of the cameraman as he makes his way through the dark tunnels of the Paris catacombs. Soon though, his breathing begins to intensify and he picks up his pace, now running aimlessly through the tunnels until he finally drops his camera altogether. Continuing to run further into the darkness, the camera continues to record until the battery dies. The camera was found later on, and searches were made for this mysterious man, but no body was ever discovered. With all that said, I've been your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.
Do you guys have more information on that last case? What is it called? The Catacombs. The Catacombs video. So this guy enters the catacombs, begins to kind of go into like a deranged mental state, drops his camera, maybe terrified, horrified by something happening, drops his camera. Does it record him running off into the darkness, and then it just eventually dies after who knows a couple hours or something? Do you think that video exists? Do you think it's possible to react to that? That is creepy. If you've got more information on that one, let me know, dude. And if anything's ever uncovered from whenever this video was put out to now, that is crazy. They conducted searches and didn't find this person. I tell you, man, there are some true mysteries out there in the world. I kind of want to, that's why I want to react to these. I want to really get enlightened, man, and see what information is out there that I haven't really exposed myself to, and do it on this channel, or, you know. Anyway, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that, man. If you did, leave me that like and subscribe. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.